Sir, the President mentioned that, he wants more of our water supply coming from surface water sources rather than from groundwater. You mentioned Jakarta a while ago, and Jakarta's having that problem that they've overtapped their groundwater. Now their city is sinking, and now they're having to move their capital elsewhere. But what's the situation as LUA sees it in terms of our groundwater sources, our lakes, rivers? Are they healthy? Are they clean? Or do we need to work on them to make them more reliable?
Our president is very much interested in developing the surface water.
Okay.
The conditions of our sources of water, it has to be reviewed, properly inventoried, because we have to ensure that it should be enough.
Okay.
And it should be safe at the same time.
Okay.
On the part of LUA, together with the water districts, we have been reviewing all our sources of water.
Okay.
And now we are gearing towards the development of surface waters.
Okay.
So in the next few weeks, we'll be talking with groupings of water districts in which the rivers of their corresponding areas in their corresponding provinces, we will identify. And these are the places that we're going to develop for our water sources. Because now the groundwater is becoming challenging because it's scarce now. Yeah. And at the same time, it is not sustainable environmentally. Because of course, the ground, if you keep on extracting water from the ground, the soil will sink.
Then you have seawater coming in.
Yes. We have been talking with the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources, and they've been saying that we have to ensure that what we are developing is the surface water.
Okay.
Because we have to look at the long-term sustainability of our development.
Right.
That is what the trajectory of LUA and the water districts nowadays.
Right.
And we have to always ensure that in the next, specifically in the next few months, where El Nino is already, we're basing up for the El Nino, we have to ensure that these efforts are being done with focus and commitment.
Right. So when is this inventory going to be made public? Are you going to go public with it and I suppose say that whether or not we have enough water to ride out the El Nino? Is that something that you're planning to do at a certain time?
Yes, together with the Water Resource Management Office.
Okay.
Now we are talking with our lead agency, which is the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources.
Okay.
Together with also with the National Water Resource Board.
Okay.
We're coming up with the inventory for the entire country.
Okay.
Because they're the ones in charge of the water permits.
Right.
And we want to know what is the condition of our water supply.
Right.
And in time, we'll be making some studies on what is happening in every provinces in our entire country, so we can come up with a report and on our preparations for the El Nino.
Right. Is that going to happen within a few months, within the year, or maybe early next year? Is there a timetable?
Within a few months. Within a few mons. Actually, that was my meeting this morning in the office.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were mentioning earlier that that there are some islands in the country that are more vulnerable than others. I know you've only been on the job for a few months, but are there areas that are emerging as more critical, greater areas of concern than the rest of the country? And where are those areas that maybe we should really focus on, especially during the El Nino?
There's a lot of challenges in the Visayas area.
Okay.
Because that's where the small islands are.
Okay.
But even in the big city of Cebu, it is a big challenge because of their ever-growing population.
Okay. Does Cebu fall under LUA's?
Yes, Metro Cebu Water District. And
so anything outside of Metro Manila is really LUA?
Yes.
Okay.
And they are now venturing into salination.
Okay.
Desalination. So that's their thrust now. But they're also looking at tapping also some bulk water on their rivers.
Okay.
They want to treat it to supply the growing population of Cebu.
Right.
So again, as I've said earlier, that this is a archipelago, and vulnerabilities here in the Visayas area.
Right.
Some parts of Mindoro is also vulnerable.
Really? Wow.
Some parts of But then you'll be surprised that we have a very good source of water in Bohol.
Okay.
So not all places have the same conditionality, so to speak. But if you're going to identify here in Visayas, it's really in Cebu that I'm looking into.
That's more critical.
More critical because of their source of water. They're already the population is growing so fast that they have to ensure that there's enough safe water for everyone.
Right. What about Mindanao? What's the situation there? Because there's a lot of development there as well. That's an important area, especially for food production, but not to mention also household use, right? But what's the situation? Have you had a chance to look at it?
We have known that Mindanao is the land of promise. Indeed,
Right.
it is blessed with resources, and water had been the best resource of Mindanao ever since.
Okay.
But then again, with the growing population, they now have to again look for another source of water.
I see.
I can remember when ages ago when I went to Davao, I just drink directly from the tap because it's very clean. But now a lot of conditions have changed because of the growing population,
Right.
so it's already different. Then I've been talking with them, and they are now they have a big bulk water supply that they're developing for their city, and they have to do that because they say that the population is really easily increasing by a few thousands every so often.
Wow. And then what's the end game here? What does the president want to do? I mean, he's in office until 2028, right? What does he want to achieve by that time? What will be his legacy, and in effect your legacy at LUA as well?
We heed to the call of the president
Okay.
to ensure that there's water security for our nation.
You mentioned earlier.
So here with local water districts,
Okay.
together with LUA, Local Water Utilities Administration, we embarked with a PBBM, Patubig sa Buong Bayan at Mamamayan,
Okay.
legacy projects, in which in the next 5 years, we will be doing some investments. And we are looking at more than 700 infrastructure projects for water.
Wow.
And about 40 for sanitation.
Okay.
And because of this, we're looking at an increase from 5.4 million households to about 7.2 million households, or up from about 22.3 million population to about 29 million population by the end of the 5 years.
Wow.
It is there, it is achievable. We just have to put our acts together.
Right.
We have to align our different agencies to ensure that this legacy projects will come into fruition during this term. And I would like to say that this is the only administration who really focused on water.
Yeah.
And because he wants to say that indeed water is life, and it is for every Filipino.
Right. And one of the things that's been discussed during this term is the possible creation of a new Department of Water. What's the logic behind that? And then what role would LUA play if that is created?
During the State of the Nation address, the president had said that he wanted to really develop water. And at the same time, he would like to have a direction towards the creation of the water department. But at the onset, now there's the creation of, through an executive order number 22,
The water management.
the Water Resources Management Office.
Yes,
This is headed by the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources, and parts of this are the MWSS, LUA, Laguna Lake Development Authority, and WRB.
Yeah.
And we constantly meet with the DPWH and the
Right.
National Irrigation Authority.
Right.
And we have to integrate and align our actions.
Okay.
Because there's a big challenge with fragmentation of a lot of different agencies are handling water.
Yeah.
So we are integrating, and it is working now.
Okay.
And towards this end, towards this goal, we want to have a more rationalized direction in investing in our water development for the country.
Yeah.
So the good thing that happened with that executive order is that all the different agencies and stakeholders on the private sector too, we converge.
You're talking now.
We're talking now, and everybody is helping each other to ensure that we are together in the direction of the directive. And heeding to the call of the president to ensure that there's the right development for our water sector.
Yeah, and what's the discussion within that group? Is there still a need, do you think, for a full-fledged department? Because as you said, things to be working now, but as you said, the population continues to grow. There are challenges that are emerging for every household and, of course, for the country. Do you think there will be a push to create that department within the president's term?
Well, if it's a president's call, then that becomes a priority. So it now depends on our members of Congress how they would like to act on that, on the same. It's a political act altogether at the same time. So we are here. We will continuously converge with all the water sectors, water agencies in our country, and this is to ensure that LUA and the water districts will always be aligned with the directive of the president.
Yeah, and I want to tap your brains here about, because you were in local government for a long time, and this year, because of the Mandanas ruling, we have more resources going to LGUs. What would be a wise plan to use more of those resources? Again, in the concern of water security, sustainability, and of course growth for their communities. As a former local chief executive, what can they look at maybe to make their communities more secure?
We are talking about water here.
Yeah.
The local government units are now in the best position to help in the water sector development. Because with the Garcia Mandanas ruling by the Supreme Court, most of our local government units had increased their funding by about 27%.
Yes.
So if they are going to function and to ensure that the general welfare of their people are being looked into, so there must be, they must invest on the basics.
Right.
What is the more basic than water?
Yeah.
And that is where
not waiting sheds or basketball courts.
Not waiting sheds, that basketball courts, that the usual.
Something basic.
Yes, basic.
Something fundamental.
Yes, indeed. So there's the basic need by every individual, every household, every Filipino that they should invest into. But then this is the thing too. If you are in the government, purely government, we should be an enabler, rather than be into the business of doing it as an LGU.
Right.
So that is now the role of the water districts. Because the water districts, they are GOCCs. They are government-owned and controlled corporations. Right. Hence, they are focused alone in the development of the of water system in that certain locality, whether it be in the city or municipality or a group of cities or municipalities. Now, I would like to ask that the local government units should converge together, align with the water districts, give their support and also their direction on how they want things done in their locality. They have enough funds to support it, rather than fragmenting it by having a different management of the water systems. They should complement each other. And I've seen a lot of models of this. I've seen a lot of models that's happening here, and there's a very good water districts that I can say, like the Baybay Water District, which is they're complementing with each other.
What province is that?
It's in Leyte. So they are complementing with each other. So the water district is continuously developing its water system. So and the LGU is continues supporting the unmet needs of that water district. So because of that, they are now universally supporting the entire population, and it's a model for good governance in our country.
Very good, sir. I wish you the best of luck. And I think if Lewis succeeds, I think we'll be all better off. Attorney Revil, thank you very much for your time. And of course, advance congratulations on your upcoming anniversary. But before we go, would you like to say a few words to our viewers?
Oh, thank you for this opportunity to be here in your program. Now LUA is on its 50th anniversary, and we have been here providing safe, affordable, dependable, and sustainable water for our growing population. I would like to ask each and every one of you to please conserve and give enough attention with our water supply for our country, because at the end of the day, it is true that indeed water is life, and together with local water utilities administration, the water districts, And together, under the leadership of this administration of our President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., we are here to ensure that there's enough water for every Filipino. Thank you.